Okay. Um, yeah, obviously, disappointing loss. Looking back on the week against Oklahoma, I thought our guys had a good week of preparation. I think our guys, they care a lot. They work their tail off. We talked all week about every week having a sense of urgency, and ultimately that all your week of preparation showing up on game day, and we didn't do that to enough consistency to go execute and take care of business in the game. I thought, obviously a ton of run game, and that was kind of the way that they were going to see the game is try to run the football and manage. The game for their defense, and thought we gave up. Really, you gave up 7 explosive runs. For 140 yards there, and that really ultimately was the thing that we couldn't give up. They had 50 runs overall, 43 for about whatever it was, 115 yards. So there were plenty of good things that we did, but we are not consistent enough, play in and play out and executing and doing our job. And whether it was a fit by a linebacker or a D lineman or a corner, you had a couple of those one-off runs that we didn't fit consistently enough. And then you can point towards, the exact same play where we are doing our job and executing and knocking things out. I thought we adjusted well in the second half, and our guys did fix the issues as the issues came, but certainly it just wasn't enough. I thought the drive before half was critical, that we needed to get a stop there, and gave up a touchdown. Coach talks all the time about the middle 8, the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half, and that's something we've really done a nice job of as a team, and certainly did not do a good job of that. And then obviously in the third quarter, we've got to find a way to hold them to a field goal when they get the ball off of a turnover, and did not do that either. So turnover margin was something that we have done a really good job of this season, and when we win the turnover margin, we're a hard team to beat. But when you don't, and you don't get enough takeaways on defense, enough game-changing plays on defense, we put ourselves in a bad situation. So our guys have a maturity. They have handled things. Our leaders have stepped up in the moment. Certainly, they understand what this week means to this program, and what this game means to our university and our fan base, and something that we're all excited for the week of preparation. Very impressed with Auburn and the way that they're playing right now. Obviously, my background, have known Hugh Freeze for a long time and known a number of people on that staff, and think that they have done a really good job of getting their guys to continue to play at a really physical level, and they're playing really hard. And I thought those things showed up the other night against Texas A&M, and like everyone in the SEC, there's been some ups and downs, and it's about fighting and finding a way to finish, and they're certainly doing that right now. So I think from a run game standpoint, they present a number of challenges for you. I think Jarquez Hunters is a phenomenal back, as tough of a back as we have seen. Creates a lot of yards after contact, does a really good job, finding ways of being patient to create explosive plays in the run game. You've got some 1+ style offense with the quarterback, and then guys on the perimeter that can make explosive plays downfield. So we'll have our work cut out for us, and looking forward to the challenge, and excited to go play in a great rivalry game.
Thanks, Coach. We'll start with Nick Kelly on the front right.
Yeah, when you're this far in the season, obviously there's a lot of game film. The games where you guys have lost or not have had as much success, the other teams had success running the football. How do you prevent teams just looking at what, say, Oklahoma did or what Vanderbilt did, especially when you're facing a rushing offense like Auburn that they have?
Yeah. Well, everybody's going to go look at, you're going to look at what other teams have done to have success, on both sides of the ball. That's part of a game plan. I did think, OU, we saw a ton of 1+ style offense, quarterback option style offense, as much as we've seen from anybody. this year. So I thought, that's certainly always going to be challenging when you have one extra hat in the box. And the key is you're going to get some yards when you have that style offense in the run game, most certainly. But you gotta keep them from having the explosive plays, and that really ultimately was the thing for us. Is we had answers and we fixed those answers when they came back to those plays. But now building off of that consistency so those things don't happen in the first place, and that was ultimately the thing that we didn't do well enough in the first half to give up the real scoring drive that they had right there before halftime.
Jump over to Colin on the far left.
Hey, Kane, first, or back-to-back questions. First, seeing some reports about Deontay Lawson, and if you could share his status. I know that's not something you typically do, but also, when you have an injury of a guy like to his caliber, the one who kind of runs the defense within helmet communication, what's kind of protocol? Does that responsibility kind of, go across a few players in practice to get ready for it so that they're used to it, or what does that look like when a guy like that goes down?
Yeah. Deontay will not be with us this week in the game, and I'll let Coach kind of handle it from that point forward. I think when you lose a guy that is, really he's kind of your steady maker in the box, and does such a great job with the green dot communication, and is such a leader for our guys and a great communicator on the field. That's tough. That's a tough loss for sure. But I think our guys have, stepped up. Justin Jefferson stepped up in the second half, and really did a good job kind of going in and playing the stinger, the weak side position for us. And we've got some young guys that I think are trending in the right direction right now with Jeremiah Alexander and Justin Okoronkwo. Caden Jones, those guys are doing a nice job to where, they're obviously going to have to continue that, and this week is going to be really important. But I think, like everybody, you're going to have some of these injuries that you have to deal with, and it's got to be a next man up mentality. And I think our guys have the right mindset in terms of what they're going to be required to do on game day.
You need to lay the room here to Mike.
What's that? The green dot communication, yeah. So Justin Jefferson has been doing that all season as kind of our number 2 there in that position, and has done a really great job. Obviously, Jihad can do it. It's just Jihad plays so many different positions for us that it's hard when a guy's moving around like that for him to be the green dot communication. So we have 2 guys that certainly can handle it, but Justin will take the majority of that responsibility this week.
Yeah, Jamarian at Wolf for this game. Just how do you think he did, and just where is Janze at compared to, obviously got some playing time with the top unit going back to Wisconsin?
Yeah, I thought Jamarian being able to move over to the Wolf in 1 week based off of some of the injuries that we had, and Janze a little bit banged up, and so went over there, did a great job in the week of practice, and really played pretty well in the game. There are some similarities in the Bandit and the Wolf position, but then there's also some very staunch differences. And I thought he did a really nice job of making those adjustments throughout the week, and then really was fairly consistent in his execution on game day. So very proud of him, appreciate him doing that. I told him as much to have to move position, a starter, right, on our defense to go move and play a different position in the game. But that's what's great about some of our leaders, right? Those guys will step up and do whatever it takes in the moment, and that's what's going to be required, when you lose guys like Q Robinson or Deontay Lawson.
All right, jumping across the aisle to EG right there.
Coach, you mentioned that you felt like the defense adjusted well in the second half to the issues. What were those issues that you needed to see be fixed in those adjustments that were made?
Yeah, so I thought, when you deal with a 1+ style offense, it's going to, now they have the quarterback as an element to the run game. And so normally when you can say, hey, we have somebody, it's a post player, we have somebody outside covering, you're kind of taking away some of the layer of the defense because you need that extra number in the run fit. And so what that does, right, is it puts you in a position that everybody has to make those one-on-one tackles, and there may be not quite as much overlap as a traditional quarterback hand the ball off, right? So those were really some of the issues that we had. Whether the quarterback kept the ball and ran it for a couple of explosive plays that we gave up, or some of the other runs were the ability for the quarterback to keep the ball now kept us light in the box on the front side when he handed the ball off to the running back. So those are the things, right, that ultimately you're going to give up some yards when you're dealing with an option style team and a 1+ offense. But it's those explosive plays that you got to be able to get them down, before they can create explosives that either flip the field or maximize drives to score like they did right before half.
Go back right to Ryan.
Coach, I'm curious, you talk about Hugh Freeze. What makes an offense of Hugh Freeze so dangerous and how it's evolved over the years?
Yeah, I think, I think like any good coordinator, he has found ways over the years to adjust to his personnel. I think that's the challenge for everybody, right? As you move to the end of the season, identifying what you do well as a team, but also what wrinkles you have to have, right? You got to constantly be mixing things and changing things in the SEC. And I think he's done a really nice job at that the last couple of weeks. They are committed to running the football, and they're committed to creating explosive plays in their passing game downfield. And so those are the things I think would be the staple of who he's been over the years, and he's done that a number of different ways and in a number of different facets with different quarterbacks, different offensive skill players. But ultimately, I think they do a great job of finding ways to establish a run and then using that run game to create explosive plays downfield in the play action game as well. And so RPOs are certainly a piece of what they do. It always has been. And so they make you defend the lateral space out of their run game as well.
We'll finish up with Matt here on the right.
And going back to making adjustments, now that you've watched the film, is there anything different you wish you had changed during the game that maybe got missed in real time?
Yeah, I think there's always there's probably 2 or 3 things that I would have rather have called this versus that. When you look at it, I think you got to be critical of yourself first in terms of, okay, what could I have called to put ourselves in a better position? Quite honestly, the explosive plays that we gave up, probably one of those calls I would have liked to have had back. The other 2 really didn't hurt us, but I thought I could have called something better in the moment. But really, I think that's the hard thing, is getting guys to play consistently, play in and play out, and do the same high level job. So you have that exact same run and we knock it out. And then all of a sudden, maybe they come back to it and we didn't do our job in that moment. So I think building consistency has been really the challenge for us in year one, and that's something that we're going to have to continue to strive to do this week against a good rushing attack.